Before I even landed, I could close my eyes and paint the colors of Hong Kong from the memories of movies that I love. Chungking Express, In the Mood for Love, Tian Mi Mi, and many more. When I finally saw the city in person, I understood why it became the backdrop to these films. Hong Kong has a nerve to it that you don't see in many big cities anymore. It's a city of contrast. Markets tucked between high-rises, you have the old colonial past coexisting beside the new, and the bustle of the city that almost makes you forget you're surrounded by beautiful mountains and ocean. For the next 100 hours, we're exploring the city through its food, dim sum, noodles, cha-chan-tangs, egg tarts, desserts, everything that makes Hong Kong what it is.
This is 100 hours in Hong Kong. Oh! Ni hao, doobies! We are in Hong Kong, the flower of Cantonese cuisine. We're gonna start off our breakfast with one of my favorite breakfasts of all times, congee. So this is essentially pan-fried pork liver, and on the side we have our milk tea and a soy scallion sauce, as well as youtiao. This is fried Chinese donuts, and it adds a really nice textural element to it, so I always order it whenever I get congee. I'm gonna get two so that it kind of soaks up all the juices. Okay, I'm just gonna push that down so that I can have it for later. But what's very commonly eaten for breakfast in especially southern China is congee, and it's essentially a loose rice porridge that has a consistency of almost glue. But it is so flavorful. I am going to add a little bit of white pepper. It is so hot. It's hot, and the white pepper got in my esophagus. Now it's time for the youtiao. What I really like about Cantonese food is all the difference in textures. You have the really lava hot congee, as well as like bouncy, squishy pork liver that's adding a little bit of that nice liver taste. You know, it has a little bit of that metallic taste, but you feel like it's really good for you. And you have the youtiao that's absorbing it, that's crispy but also spongy at the same time. It's just a symphony of textures that I really like. And half of eating is all about textures, and I really love that about congee. Even though you might think that it's just only one nota, there's actually a lot going on inside. I've had pork liver in so many places, but this is really good. Not a hint of gaminess. Nothing beats congee in the morning. It's my favorite breakfast. Easy on the stomach. It's a great appetizer for the day.
Now that our bellies are full, it's time for a little history lesson. Hong Kong is located here, and it initially started out as a small fishing village in southern China, following the First Opium War as part of Treaty of Nanking from 1842 to 1997. Hong Kong was under British colonial rule, which is why you see the remnants of its influence throughout the city, most noticeably in the city's iconic double-decker trams, street names, and cha-chang-tangs from afternoon tea culture. Cha-chang-tangs are casual Hong Kong cafes that serve quick dishes blending Cantonese flavors with British-style milk tea and diner food. Lan Fong Yuen is one of the oldest cha-chang-tangs, known for its silk stocking milk tea, where you have a strong brewed black tea, then filtered through a fine cloth mesh and aerated, then finished with a drizzle of evaporated milk to make it creamy without being too sweet.
We're at the legendary cha-chang-tang Lan Fong Yuen, and the thing to get here is a milk tea and a pineapple bun. Wow, milk tea is so good. Not too sweet. That's the key. So they've been open since 1952, and look at the pineapple bun. So pineapple bun is essentially a brioche with like cookie sablé dough on top. So when you put it on, as it bakes, it cracks because this mixture is made of a higher ratio of sugar, butter, and a little bit of flour. That's why it gets that signature crackle that looks like the exterior of a pineapple, hence the name pineapple bun. Pineapple apple bun. And inside we have a thick slab of butter nestled in between the warm pineapple bun. And when you order it, it gets toasted, which is why you get this nice brulee mark, and the butter slightly melts, but it's still really cold. So you got that nice contrast between warm, fluffy, and that cold butter. Legendary. Match made in Hong Kong heaven.
When I'm traveling in a new country, I want to explore, walk, and be curious. The last thing I want to do is stress about finding a SIM store. That's where today's sponsor, Airlo, comes in. Traveling with an eSIM has become a ritual for me. I just open my Airlo app, choose the country I'm going to, install it before takeoff, and it's done under a minute. If you haven't heard of Airlo before, it's the world's first eSIM store, and it works in 200 plus countries and regions. It's 100% digital, meaning there's no physical SIM cards, no airport kiosk, and I get to keep my home number while using local data abroad. For this Hong Kong trip, I literally stepped off the plane, turned my eSIM on, and I could start my travel stress-free right away, focusing on what really matters: good food. So if you're traveling soon, download the Airlo app for free today and use my code DOOBY3 for $3 off your first eSIM. Trust me on this when I say eSIM makes your travel experience the way it should be. Download Airlo using the link at the very top of the description and use my code DOOBY3 to get $3 off. With my trusty Airlo, let's go uphill to Victoria Peak Tram. The Victoria Peak Tram has been operating since 1888 and it's a funicular railway. And if you don't know what funicular means, like me, it means it's a type of railway that uses cables to pull the train cars up and down the slopes. And as you go up, you can see the city's skyline and harbour. And at the top, it's one of the best lookout points in the city. It does get really windy, so keep that in mind. But if you're a tourist visiting, I think it's really worth it to go up.
So cute! I'm also gonna get these mahjong socks. You caught me in a very Chinese time of my life. We're gonna go to Hong Kong Park right next door.
Walking inside Hong Kong Park, it's hard to believe you're still in central Hong Kong. Amidst all the greenery, you can still see tall skyscrapers peeping in the back and slightly tired-looking corporate workers taking a break here to get away from the busy city life.
Just me and my mule. It's so lush and green everywhere. We're heading over to the Aviary that's in the center of Hong Kong Park.
After looking at birdies, this little birdie wanted to eat some, so we're heading over to Wan Chai Station to Kam's Roast Goose. Kam's Roast Goose is a legendary Michelin awarded shop carrying the legacy of Hong Kong's most famous roast goose traditions. The queue is most definitely gonna be long, so be aware. My hot tip is get the ticket and go around Wan Chai Market to help forget about your hunger. Wan Chai is one of Hong Kong's oldest and most historically layered districts. You have narrow alleyways and tall and narrow buildings stacked right next to each other. And amongst these buildings, you're going to find Tangyuen Street filled with toys for all ages. I had my heart set on finding a miniature classic red Hong Kong cab, but they didn't have it, so instead I went looking for something I knew I can always rely on: curried fish balls.
Ay, shit for my neck, I'm feeling like a blizzard. Ain't nobody in my spot, cause I got it razor. All I know is getting money, then I hit the reverse. Really got it in the bag, every day a new purse.
I've never had fish siu mai before and it's so good. What's really interesting is like the texture. It's squishy and it bounces back. And in Chinese, people call it QQ, where it's like has a little squishiness to it. That's really nice. So these little rice rolls that you see are Cheung Fun. And I thought they were going to be similar to Korean rice cakes because we have something called tteokbokki, which is our spicy rice cake stir fry, but it's totally different. It's more silky smooth and you can feel the layers of the roll. That's very delicate and it's more silky and smooth and it's perfect with all the sauces combined. And then here we have the curry fish ball. Mild curry flavor coming through. It's salty, it's squishy. I love the peanut butter sauce that they smothered over, as well as like the spicy and the soy. The mixture of all three is so good. If I had to choose a favorite, I think the fish siu mai is my favorite. Wow. And everybody's just eating on the street, and if you are eating it here, they give you a little plate. Like, the texture of the Cheung Fun is insane. I'm not usually the biggest fan of fish cake, but this is bomb. Bomb diggity. You have all these like symphony of sauces, like the sweet sticky soy glaze with a sprinkle of sesame seeds on top also. It's so amazing. I would like to drink this sauce, but I don't know if that's socially acceptable.
After our Wan Chai rendezvous, it's our turn to sit down for some goose.
Like, this is the skin. It looks like Kowloon. So beautiful. So we ordered a half goose. Look at this. Like, the skin is literally crystallized. Like, I wouldn't even say caramelized. Like, at this point it has crystallized. This means that it's been dried really properly and then roasted. But then, like, you can see that the meat is super juicy as well. This is the type of skin contact that I want in my life. Crispy, oily goose. I'm gonna dip the meat in the plum sauce. It smells so fragrant. Magic. Gone. Usually for Thanksgiving, when you roast a bird, you have to sacrifice one of the two. Are you gonna have crispy skin and dry meat, or will you have soggy skin but juicy meat? But here, you don't have to, because you get both the crispy skin and also the extremely juicy goose. Goose is also a little bit more leaner, but like the fat is easier to render out than duck or any other type of bird compared to chicken. It's extremely difficult to achieve a moist bird. What they've done is really achieve that golden balance between the two. And the plum sauce that they make in-house is super citrusy to offset some of the oiliness, and it works perfectly together. We also ordered some choy sum and some white rice to enjoy with, because you gotta get some fiber. Chinese broccoli, choy sum. There's a light soy sauce and like aromatic oil on top with a little bit of MSG, and it hits really good. Goose innately has like a slight like livery taste to it, in my opinion, but it's really, really nice. It has more flavor than like a young chicken. Obviously, like, I love chicken too, but this just has more flavor in the meats. Clean Bowl Club.
By the time we finished our goose, it was early dinner time, so we went back to Wan Chai, this time to the wet market to take a look around.
We're at Wan Chai Market. So there is an indoor market facility, which is right behind me over there, and also a very bustling outside market. Right now it's around 5 p.m. so there's people rushing to get the best produce for dinner time, and it's really fascinating to come to one of these wet markets to see what is in season, what are people buying, and what do people eat. And it is really fun. Like, everything is so alive and fresh. It is one of the most fun experiences to be surrounded by huge high-rises and have these local markets also very active. I think the funny thing about this market is that it feels weirdly familiar. It reminds me of all the big Chinatowns in New York, San Francisco, because the same Chinatowns there are also started by a lot of Cantonese people.
We were still pretty full, so walked around and was drawn to the smell of incense. This is villain hitting, where you pay to curse your enemies. You smack paper effigies and burn them to drive away bad luck and energy. So send this to your ops who want your downfall. But speaking of op, we were actually walking in the opposite direction of where we had to go for dinner, so we hopped on the subway and headed over north to Shamshui-po. Shamshui-po is in the Kowloon district on the west side of the peninsula. The area is famous for its electronics and gadget street, also with a strong working class history. And like many places in Hong Kong, wherever there's foot traffic, there's always going to be some great cheap eats.
So this is tofu fan, which is tofu pudding. You might think that it's quite weird to come to a tofu factory for dessert, but here in Hong Kong, it's exactly what you want to do. And as you can see from some of the steam that's rising, this is warm, sweet tofu pudding. So they make all the tofu in-house, and look how silky it looks. Right now it's like around dinner time, so there's a lot of people getting tofu for their family to go, but also for dine-in. So we got the version with the sweet syrup drizzled over, and the warm, nutty soy milk flavor that's not too dense. It's just the right amount of sweetness above. And the syrup itself is not flavored with anything, but that's, I think, how it should be. Because you want to be able to taste the tofu itself because it's so tasty. And on the side, we also have tofu ice cream. Well, it tastes like tofu. You might think, oh, like why would you want your ice cream to taste like tofu? But it's creamy, it's milky, but it's not as heavy as like animal fat. And there's a light decadence of its own. That's super, super nice. But I have to say, the star of the show is definitely the warm tofu pudding. Look how it jiggles. It's so good. Mad respect that they have like a soy milk keg. I could eat some dinner now.
Set the roof on fire. Step by step, raise the whole room higher. Pick up your step, don't try hard. Down, up, down like a boom bap choir. Turn out the beat, raise up the heat. Kick up your feet like this, like that. Word on the street says you got the heat, so let's see you move like this.
Chef is Tanjiro. He's doing the fire dance with the wok, and it's beautiful. You can't do this without loving your job. Like the choreography in which he's moving the wok. Everything is moving to perfection and with intention. So what's very interesting about this place is that it's one of the few remaining places where you're allowed to cook on the streets. And the fire that he's using isn't just any fire. It's fueled by kerosene. There's gasoline and then there's kerosene, meaning it's like nuclear power. And because of the firepower he has, everything takes only a matter of 5 seconds to cook, and he's also a great showman and a local celebrity of his own.
For dinner, a couple of my biggest foodie friends were in town, so we all got together, and you already know what's about to happen. Lots and lots of good food. We ordered wok fried clams, roasted pigeon, sweet and sour pork, fried squid and tofu, typhoon shelter crab, shrimp, typhoon shelter mantis shrimp, fried garlic scapes with squid and cashews, and obviously you can't forget about the local beer brand here, Blue Girl, to wash everything down. It's a common tradition to wash all cups and utensils in hot water at many old school joints here because of a superstition that the dishwashers aren't doing a good job, but it's also a great way to have warm cutlery and plates for warm food. The whole point of coming to these Dai Pai Dongs is to share food and beer with friends and order a lot to try a bunch of different things, and that's exactly what we did to end the night.
Good morning. It is day 2 in Hong Kong. Last night we drank a little too many Blue Girls, and today I want to detox with a little steam. Are we going to a sauna? No, girl. We're going to Yum Cha. Energy in here is crazy. It's so hectic. We're here on a Saturday morning and this is peak time for Yum Cha. So the way this works here is they have trolleys of freshly made dim sum with ladies going around the different tables asking if you want it. Some of the classics are always in the center of the restaurant where there's a gigantic steamer in the middle and you pick and choose which one you want to get. Make sure you get your pay slip and then you go up and then tick off whichever ones you want to get. Har Gao, which is the queen of dim sums, it is a shrimp-filled dim sum. Siu Mei, which is a mixture of pork and shrimp. This one is sticky rice wrapped in lotus. This one is lo bak lao, which is turnip cake. Finally, we have our Cheung Fun, which is rolled rice rolls. Let's eat! The shrimp just bursts in your mouth. Texture on this is unparalleled. The wrapper is nice and chewy, but the inside, the shrimp is not overcooked, and it's literally bouncing back as I chew. because today's a weekend, the turnover rate for all the dim sum is so fast, so everything's made super fresh. Yesterday we had fish siu mai, and that was super interesting, but this one is more the classic siu mai. You can still feel the shrimp and the pork mixture really like almost fighting to retain its texture. Like look at the cross section on this one. So juicy, not dense at all. And you can see the guys making it in the kitchen if you go to the side over there. The lotus leaf adds kind of like almost like a tea note flavor to the sticky rice, right? And it's also not like overly steamed because the rice granules, it hasn't turned into mush. It's the perfect amount of moisture. And what I love about this dish is also that it absorbs everything that it cooks with. So all the juices coming out from the chicken, the shiitake mushroom, some ham as well, and pork. It kind of absorbs all of that juice and flavors the rice. And that's what I really, really love about lotus leaf. This one is lobak lao, which is turnip cake that's pan fried. This one is one of my favorites to eat during yum cha. This is the type of fat roll I want for Saturday mornings. It's silky, it's smooth. You have the crispy char siu that's a little sweet and caramelized in the center. The textural difference coming from the silky smooth rice roll and then the bits of pork as well as the cilantro to brighten everything up, and the vinaigrette that they pour over is acidic and fresh and salty. Simply the best. It hits different when you're having it in the birthplace of Cantonese cuisine. The ladies sitting next to us offered one of their char siu baos because they couldn't finish. And look at this beauty. It's glistening and it is juicy. So the color that char siu bao gets, this white color, comes from making the dough with milk. And char siu bao is one of those inventions that were byproducts of colonization of bread making and also traditional dim sum making coming together. Phenomenal. So this one is the baked version of the char siu bao that we just got. It's wrapped around a puff pastry and then a brush of egg wash so that the sesame seeds sprinkled on top can stick. And also, it's pretty. A little bit sweet, so it's Kevin's favorite. Like, look at this golden sheen. Look at all the sesame embedded, and you can see the layers of the puff pastry all rolled around. These are individual layers that's gonna just shatter in your mouth when you put it in. Incredibly buttery. You get this sweet, sticky char siu filling with a hint of spice coming through. It's a very indulgent bite. This is the ultimate brunch.
After a big morning feast, we headed over to the east side of Hong Kong Island, a mostly residential area, wandering through markets and seeing what locals were buying for groceries.
I love markets like this. They're my favorite part of traveling.
And wherever there's a dense neighborhood like this, there's always gonna be some good food. Char siu in Hong Kong grew out of traditional Cantonese roast meat culture brought by migrants from Guangdong, and as the city urbanized in the early 1900s, families in cramped homes relied on ready-made roast meats as an everyday meal. These barbecue shops are called Siu Mei stores, and Chef was kind enough to show us in the back kitchen where the meats are roasted fresh every day.
A little char siu break where all the locals were coming in and buying char siu because it looks so amazing from outside. So we ordered crispy pork. Look how crispy the skin is. Look at this. As well as char siu, thinly sliced with a bowl of rice. I'm gonna try the crispy pork first. I'm gonna try the skin only. Look at the skin. That's the best pork belly skin I've ever tasted in my life. It's crispy, but inside you have that fat cap, but still juicy. Let's try the meat. Literally falling off the bone. I don't know how that's possible. Pork melts in your mouth. Skin super crispy. And look at this. All these little marks here. That's not goosebumps. All the perforated marks so that the oil and steam can escape. Look how many people there are. This is a popping joint. To enjoy with the pork, this is a mustard sauce. If you're a big Wong Kar-wai fan, you know that there's a scene in The Mood for Love where they talked about mustard. It's a very Hong Kong classic thing to pair some of the fattier meat with a spicy mustard sauce like this. This time I'm gonna dip the char siu in. Wow. The combination of the sweet sticky pork with the spicy mustard is so good. So we got the leaner part of the chashu. So in Japan, when they breed the pigs, they make it so that the cut for katsu is the most optimal. And for Korea, because we love pork belly, we have a pig breed that has the most yield of pork belly. But here in Hong Kong, they breed the pig so that it's optimal for chashu. So you can get two different types of chashu cuts. We got the lean cut, and you can see because there's not much of a fat cap, and you can see the glaze on the outer layer that's caramelized. And the key to a great chashu is making sure it pairs well with rice. That's so good. But I think personally, in my opinion, the star of the show here is definitely the crispy pork belly. I have never seen pork belly be this moist, but also have a fat cap that's this crispy at the same time. This is what you should come here for. This is legendary.
We're exploring more of Hong Kong, but this time from the view of a double-decker tram. Hong Kong has the world's largest fleet of double-decker trams, a system that's been running since 1904. Inside, you get a sweeping view of the city from the upper deck, watching the streets, markets, and neon signs roll by. So we're rolling slow and steady into getting some dessert at Michelin-recommended Fook Yuen. We ordered black sesame with glutinous rice balls. So the rice balls inside are called Tangyuen, and they're also filled with black sesame. And this one is the mango pomelo soup. And this one is black rice pudding with coconut milk and mango. Look at the color of this. It looks like cement and it's hot. Like, look how thick this is. I feel like I'm pouring asphalt over. This is the best bite we've had so far in Hong Kong. And we've had very, very good eats. I eat for a living, but this is one of the top bites of this year. It's so good. Have one of those bites when you travel that you will always reminisce about, that would remind you of the place you visited. Unbelievable. And this one is the mango pomelo. The thing about this one is that it is a textural cacophony. There's these little rice balls that are really chewy. You have this silky smooth coconut milk that's with the pomelo that adds a citrus note, and the big chunks of mango. They all work together to create such a refreshing bite. Very good. But right now, I'm like in shock over the black sesame glutinous rice balls. And this one is the black rice. Look how beautiful this is. The contrast of the colors of the black rice, when it's cooked out, it almost has like a dark red color that seeps out, with the coconut milk that's bright white and the vibrant orange mango that's super well ripe. Like, the colors of this dessert are so beautiful. Wow, the texture of the black rice. There's also a little bit of like small red beans that's pulverized inside. It's just one of those foods you want to close your eyes and just really degust, just to taste everything that's going on. The texture of the black rice, you know, you might think that when rice is cold, it hardens and it becomes a little bit too starchy, but this is perfect consistency. I knew right away when she was scooping it that it was thick and viscous and just comforting. This is truly actually one of the best bites I've gotten on this trip and in this year.
Fortunately, right after Fook Yuen, we were on our way to Victoria Park, but it started raining, so we had to get a little dumpling break. I saw a big line, and I'm gonna quote myself again, but a dumpling cannot pass by a dumpling store without getting some dumplings. So we got bao, which is a Shanghai style dumplings. bao, crispy on the bottom, fluffy on top, and juicy inside. The way you make this is like a bao. You fill it with the filling, you wrap it, you seal it, and you place it in a pan that's well oiled with a cup of water and you close the lid, and inside is going to be this bubbling mixture of oil and water so that the bottom gets crispy and the top gets steamed. And for the final crisping process, what's very important about Shengjianbao is to rotate it. You know, not all parts of the pan are equal, and you want to make sure that the part that gets the direct heat, it gets crisped up, and you open the lid to make sure that all the excess evaporation goes off so that you're left with a crispy bottom that's caramelized like this. Wow. The sprinkle of scallion is also that cherry on top. Let's take a bite. The bun is slightly sweet and fluffy, and inside it is this juicy, lardy pork filling. There's so much juice dripping from the shengjianbao, and that is just pure pork lard, and lard is flavor. Wow. When you order, you're asked to wait 15 minutes, and they're constantly making new batches, shaping, filling, steaming, pan frying, all in one go.
After the rain settled, so did my full belly, which meant it was time for dinner. After a quick outfit change, we headed over to Mak Man Kee noodle shop for a classic Hong Kong shrimp wonton noodle soup.
So this one is the prawn wonton noodle soup, and I love the type of noodles that they're using here. It's a thin type of noodle, which makes it incredibly slurpable. And the texture of the thin noodles works incredibly well with the clear, mild flavored broth. So this broth is flavored with not just shrimp, but dried shrimp, so it gets almost like a toasty, very clean flavor that feels just pure. If the noodles are thin and the sauce is too thick, it's going to be too overpowering, but this is just the right amount of seasoning. These are the wontons. I've not seen wontons that are this big. There's a whole ass shrimp in there. Usually when you order wontons, it's like a little bit of shrimp with a lot of dough. But this is a little bit of dough to a lot of shrimp. It's a whole shrimp in there, and it's perfectly cooked. It's bouncy, it's not overcooked, it's delicate, it's fresh. It tastes incredible. Boom. And this one is the beef noodle. It's the same noodles that's used before. So these are thin egg noodles. And we have beef that's been slow braised in soy sauce that's almost falling apart. You can see some of the tendons here as well. And that is braised to this. I'm gonna try the noodle only. Wow. Consistency of the thin noodle is incredible. It like clings on every bit of the sauce. And the sauce here is the braising liquid of the beef. It's like buttery. It melts in your mouth. So soft. I'm gonna try one of the beef chunks as well. So bomb. Look at this. Super buttery. It's braised so low and slow that all the intramuscular fat, it just completely dissolves in your mouth. Every grain of the meat is just falling apart. It works incredibly well with the noodle. If you ask me which one is my favorite, I'd say half and half. Order both and then see which one you like most. And then these are the greens. It tastes so sweet. It tastes like sugar snap peas and asparagus combined, and a little bit of chives as well. Really, really good.
Right next to Mak Man Kee is one of the most famous and busiest cha-chan-tangs in Hong Kong, Australia Dairy Company.
Probably the most famous cha-chan-tang, not only in Hong Kong, but probably in the world. So they've been open since 1970. So cha-chan-tang is a Western-style cafe in Hong Kong. One thing that Australia Dairy Company is also known for is extremely bad service. Part of the charm that you just have to get used to. That's the most beautiful scramble I've seen. Bruh, I've been wanting to try Australia Dairy Company for years now. I know that the service is supposed to be bad. I know it's full of tourists. But hey, there's also a lot of locals who are coming here at night, and if you're waiting 1 to 2 hours for this, maybe what is worth waiting 2 hours of your time for? But if you come at night, you don't have to wait. That's a hot tip. So let's go over everything we ordered. So this is macaroni soup with chicken broth and ham. The iconic Hong Kong style French toast with a knob of butter. We have scrambled eggs with white toast, Hong Kong style milk tea, And look at the cutlery and the plates. It's so beautiful. And this one is the milk pudding with egg white. And you can get it either warm or cold, but we opted for the warm because that's what the waiter recommended us. You might be wondering why it's called Australian Dairy Company. Well, it has to do with English era of colonization. And during that time, Western style cafes were very, very popular because Western food was kind of only for white people that were living in Hong Kong. It was not an everyday thing that a lot of locals could enjoy. So these style of Western style cafes started popping up, making it more affordable for Hong Kong people to taste what Western food was like. Okay, let's try. Whatever you expect this to taste like, that's what it tastes like. Do not expect greatness, but there is comfort in knowing what you are eating. It's familiar, it's safe, really nice chicken broth with a dash of MSG. It's soothing. I like it. Just tastes like what you would expect. So what's different about a Hong Kong style French toast versus a regular French toast is that Hong Kong style, it's white bread, egg wash, and then deep fried instead of pan fried. That's how it gets that signature even golden brown color. Oh, it smells so good. Imagine a sponge that's caramelized and eggy. It has that notes of toasted egg and with a drizzle of honey on top and the melted butter. It's one of the best things you'll ever have in your life because it's bad for you. Sometimes bad things taste good and it's worth it. It's strong. I need to put some sugar in it. Oh, much better. Earlier it was too bitter. I was like, oh. So the beauty of this dish is that the eggs, like the scrambled eggs, it's cooked to perfection. What is really interesting though is that this style of scrambled eggs is the way that you cook eggs for tomato and egg stir fry. You get this really nice glossy sheen, almost in these like big curd. It's eggs on toast, exactly what you would expect. But again, there's comfort in familiarity. That's really, really nice. Last but not least, milk pudding is so jiggly. I feel like a baby again. I feel like this is what mother's milk tastes like to a newborn baby. You know, this is like your first sip to life. That's what that tastes like. First sip of the nip. Pure, silky, sweet, not an ounce of friction that's preventing this pudding from going all the way down my throat. No need to chew. Straight in.
After a full day of eating, we're walking it off by walking through the busy streets of Hong Kong. The neon lights, the crowds, the noise, everything pulls you towards the harbor. And when you finally reach the water, the city reflects across the ripples like a moving painting, with people gathered along the shoreline, all to see the beautiful city across the water.
We're ending the night by the water here with a beautiful view of the night skyline of Hong Kong behind me. That is everything for today. I'll see you again tomorrow for some more good food. Good night. Good morning, doobies. This is day 3. Check out my mahjong sock drip that I got from day 1. May good fortune be on your food journey. We're gonna go get some tomato noodles this morning at a very local cha-chan-teng to start off our day. And today on the itinerary, I'm looking for egg tarts. For breakfast this morning, we're doing tomato and egg with instant noodle. Actually, we made this not so long ago. We were just filming 100 ramens right before we left for Hong Kong and Seoul. Let's see how my version is versus this one. Wow, super addicting. It's a really light, clean tomato broth. So it's more of like a chicken broth flavor that's underneath, and then the tomato gets poured on top. So you get that clear soup, and then you get also these big chunks of full peeled canned tomatoes, and you're served with thin instant noodles, and you can choose a lot of different toppings, but I opted for the fried egg. So I'm guessing this is like very much the cha-chan-teng version of the classic Cantonese tomato and egg dish, and I like it. It's very good. Broth is what's really insane. You get that natural MSG from the tomatoes, and probably some real MSG as well, so it's like double the addictiveness, but it's clean, it's easy on the stomach, and this is what I want for breakfast every morning. I love me some broth. We also got a kaya toast. So it's a spread of butter, kaya jam, and condensed milk spread on top of white bread. Damn. The whiter the bread, the more excited Kevin gets. There's a loaf of bread over there. Very good. It's a thick cut of white bread, and look how the crumb structure is. It's fluffy, it's not dense, it's perfectly seared on both sides, so it's crunchy but still soft and supple on the inside. You get the condensed milk, and then the sweet, sticky kaya jam that's also spread on top. It's very, very good. And it's a vibe also, like you're in this like alleyway that's tented with like a fan in the top, eating noodles and like small crammed tables. It's part of the whole experience, and I'm here for it.
Now that we've gotten some breakfast, it's time for some food for the soul. We're heading over to Manmo Temple around the corner in Seoung Won. Inside, the air is filled with the scent of giant incense rolls spiraling overhead. Manmo Temple is one of Hong Kong's oldest and most important temples, built in 1847 during the Qing dynasty. It's dedicated to the gods of literature and martial arts, so it's a place where many students pray for success in exams.
We're at Tangyuen curry restaurant, and we ordered two things: beef fun and pork chop with curry and rice, and also enormous portions. It's so oily and glossy, and you have these giant beef chunks as well with scallion. This looks really good, and you can see the bean sprouts. It looks super crunchy still, and you can smell the wok hei from here. Not too salty, not too sweet. Really, really great wok hei. Every noodle is coated with oil, a little bit of the dark soy sauce to give it the aroma. Really, really well balanced, indulgent, and super tasty. That's incredible. So the noodles that they use here are rice noodles, and it's really, really difficult to actually get them to not stick to each other. That's the beauty of making a good beef pho, and it's not every restaurant that can achieve it. Pork chop, and dip it in the curry. Kind of reminds you of Japanese curry a little bit, but the breading here is very different. So instead of using a more thick-coated panko, this is egg wash, flour, and a finer breadcrumb that gets deep fried. And look at the pork chop, like it's so juicy, incredibly well cooked. I think the highlight here is definitely the curry. The rice is also a little bit on the drier side, so it can really absorb all the curry. Curry's sweet, it's spicy, you get the crunchy pork chop. It's great. It's one of the best meals actually that we've gotten so far in Hong Kong. The line is going to be long, just keep that in mind. And you are going to be crammed into a small table with a bunch of strangers, but when in Hong Kong, this is how you do it.
Remember what I said start of the day? I can't believe it's day 3 and we still haven't gotten an Eggtart. We're going to Cheung Coffee Shop in Happy Valley, an old Hong Kong institution open since 1951. And when you walk inside, you feel like you stepped into a Wong Kar-wai movie.
They're known for two things here. One, bolo bao with a thick cut of cold butter and egg tarts. I don't know why, but it feels criminal that we're getting our first egg tart on day 3. And to overcompensate for that, we're probably gonna get 2 or 3 more today. So we ordered bolo bao with butter sliced in between, as well as an egg tart and iced coffee. Look at this crust, the goldenness. I'm gonna go for the bolo bao first because the bun is warm and the butter is cold. Wow. The bolo bao that we got day 1 was good, but this is legendary. What makes this bolo bao super special, it's a thick crust, but it's super crunchy. It's also higher in egg, which is why it gets this really nice caramelization happening on the top, and it's salty. The saltiness is coming through, and it's really, really indulgent. It's that harmony of sweet, salty, and butteriness, and you cannot ask for anything better, especially for a little afternoon snack. Legendary. Best pineapple bun I've ever gotten in my life. Look at how flaky this is, and all the layers of the puff pastry. It's kind of like in between a short crust and a puff pastry, and the sheen that the egg custard is giving. Beautiful. jiggly, warm, soft. The pie crust on the outside is crumbly. It's so dry, but then the custardy wet mixture in the center compensates for it, and it's a creamy custardy bite. What's different about the Portuguese pastel de nata versus here all lies in the dough, and the egg custard in the center is also a lot more eggier than it is creamier, and that was probably like the biggest difference between the two. You should try both. I love both, but I like the egginess, and I do like how less sweet the Hong Kong version is because I'm fucking Asian. So good. Also, first iced coffee in Hong Kong, and I'm getting goosebumps right now. Glorious. Give me 10 more right now.
After a delicious little snack, we decided to wander around the Happy Valley neighborhood. It's home to a big cemetery built back in the mid-1800s, and right next to them sits iconic Happy Valley Racecourse. Built in 1845, it's one of the oldest racetracks in Asia. Today, the racecourse isn't just for horse racing, it also hosts community events, concerts, and sports games on its infield. There happened to be a rugby match when we were there, so we decided to sit down for a bit and watch. So, not gonna lie, this was my first time watching rugby match in real life, and as somebody who only watched American football before, dude, it must hurt. But surprisingly, the turnout was pretty big, mostly the expat community living in Hong Kong mixed with local families, students, and long-term residents who make up the city's diverse crowd. And because it's Hong Kong, it was still pretty humid and hot, so after a while, we decided to cool down with a dessert.
I'm 5'4" on a good day, and I think that the reason why I didn't grow as big and strong as the rugby players is because I didn't get enough milk as a baby. So we ordered steamed milk. We're at Shun Milk Company, and this is a cha-chang-teng. It feels like a cha-chang-teng kind of day, but I think that's just how it is when you're in Hong Kong. And it's very similar to Australia Dairy Company, but what the difference is here is that they have different flavor of steamed milk. We ordered the ginger steamed milk, and this is what she looks like. We also got a coconut milkshake, and this one is mine, and it is pineapple ice. I got pineapple ice because, as you can probably tell, I'm a huge Wong Kar-wai fan. This is like pineapple straight from the can, and it's not diluted out with water. It's just ice and the juice from the pineapple can poured in, and I love that. It's the preserved liquid, and it's so good. Cocoa nutted. Whoa. I really think that this logo is the prettiest logo ever. Interesting. Personally, not a fan. I feel like if you grew up with it, it's pretty nice, but I'm curious to see what you would think of it.
Oh, it's really nice. Proper ginger flavor. It's not like sweet ginger.
It's like ginger snap and steamed milk together.
Yeah.
They even have black sesame, coffee, and chocolate flavors. And then this is the original flavor, and then this one is their egg custard one. We were way too full today to try them all, but I would recommend trying different ones and see which one you like best.
After cooling down with a little dessert, we were ready for something salty again. One very Hong Kong thing to do is to eat inside a food center, so we headed to Seoung Won food court. It's a wet market during the day, but at night, the upper floor is filled with diners looking for cheap, loud, and delicious food. Cooked food centers are a big part of Hong Kong's eating culture because they began as a way to move street hawkers into regulated indoor spaces. Over time, they became neighborhood hubs where people come for no-frills food, shared tables, and a chaotic energy that you can't recreate in a restaurant.
First things first, we gotta wash our utensils. I feel like more than like the disinfecting part of this is that it's more ritualistic, and it also warms up your bowls, so it's really, really nice. Here we have some chow mein, which is stir-fried soy sauce noodles. And look at this, beautiful. Doesn't clump up. The only way you can avoid doing that is plenty of oil, high heat, low cook time, but it smells so smoky and fragrant. This is what good chow mein should look like. It's indulgent, It's light and fragrant and smoky. This one is the oyster pancake. It's battered, deep fried in an egg mixture. And then you get a vinaigrette of garlic and shallots to dip in. Wow. This was one of the menu items that our waitress recommended to us, and for good freaking reason. The oysters are super plump. The batter is light and fluffy. It's not dense at all. It's crispy, but it's juicy at the same time. You also get the greens embedded that add like a nice, fresh, almost peppery note to it. You can think of this as like a deep fried omelet. So it gets that nice, almost like cloud-like texture. So bomb. So this is the fish we ordered. We opted for it to get steamed. And look at the oil that's on the side of the perimeter of the sauce. So this sauce is that you're seeing right here. There's this black bean sauce as well as scallions. And by pouring it over, not only does it slightly tighten the skin of the fish, it makes an aromatic scallion oil where it almost becomes like a split sauce. Super tender. This is the best way to enjoy fish in my opinion. Snow pea shoot, stir fried, very quick. Really nice wok with a little bit of garlic, and you get the MSG as well. The stem is hollow, meaning that when you bite into it, you get that like burst of air that escapes through, and it's really crunchy and nice. Think of it as like mixture of broccolini, spinach, and peas all together. And the beauty of coming to a place like this is that you know that the ingredients are going to be super fresh because it's a market downstairs. It's closed during nighttime, but then third floor, when you come up the escalator, it is bustling. Like there's people drinking and enjoying food with their friends and family, and it is a total vibe and something that I think you need to experience while you're in Hong Kong. In my personal opinion, I think that the food tastes better here than at some of the Dai Pai Dongs that we went to, but see for yourselves when you come visit. Let's feast.
Maybe I'm like a moth to light, except I'm not a moth, I'm just a doobie trying to get closer to the water in Hong Kong. That metaphor went way over my head, but anyways, we're wrapping up day 3 by the pier, this time from the Hong Kong island side, looking back at the city. The boardwalk is full of people hanging out with their dogs, chilling, and just enjoying the breeze. That is all for day 3. See you tomorrow morning!
Good morning! It's day 4 in Hong Kong. And today I need a little extra boost, so we're heading over to Halfway Coffee.
Halfway Coffee is a local coffee brand in Hong Kong tucked away in Hong Kong's antique district. Nestled along aunties and uncles selling relics from the past lies a young hipster crowd. It's known for serving coffee in vintage porcelain cups surrounded by old furniture and artifacts that make the space feel like a little museum.
So they do a couple of special lattes. We ordered the honey longan latte. It's sweet. I like it.
Now that I got my caffeine kick, it's time for a little breakfast noodle kick. So we're heading over to Ying Kee Noodle, a classic Hong Kong spot known for its springy, handmade duck egg noodles with a rich broth.
We ordered beef brisket noodle and char siu noodle, and it comes with this thin noodle that you see often in wonton noodle soup. It's super thin, it's yellow in sheen, and I believe it's made with goose egg and flour, but it's an egg-based noodle that absorbs the sauce incredibly well, but at the same time doesn't overcook. And it's one of my favorite noodles because I like the noodle. She has this cauldron of bubbling beef that's just simmering low and slow, and she takes a cut out, slices it thin, along with some choy sum, which is like Chinese broccoli, and you can see the broccoli almost like sprouts here. The beef brisket is literally just like falling off. So tender. Brisket is one of those cuts that has to be stewed for a long time because it's quite tough. The muscles need to be stewed or else it's just too chewy. But once it's stewed low and slow, it's one of the best cuts in my opinion because it has so much intramuscular fat and the grain on it is really, really fantastic. Melts in your mouth. It's tender, it's juicy, you get the fat rising to the top, and the broth is a very clear, mild flavored, but also rich at the same time of a mixture of meat and seafood. It's oily and unctuous, but not in a bad way. It's super flavorful, and I like how the oil coats each strand of the noodle when you slurp it. That's insanely good. When you order the char siu one, You get a fattier side and a lean side. And I believe this part to be the pork jowl because you can see the grain and the fattiness that the char siu has. It gives a completely different flavor to the broth.
I'm a firm believer that we're born with two stomachs, one for savory and one for sweet, because there's always room for dessert. So we picked up some snacks to enjoy at a nearby park.
Some people are exercising. I'm exercising. My right to eat. Ah, it is hot today. So it's mochi covered in coconut flake, and inside are roasted peanuts. There's some that's pulverized, but also some that's whole, and it adds a really nice crunchy note to it. I don't know how they get the rice cake to be this soft. Like sesame mochi. Mochi game here. They know what's up. Eggtart. This one's a little bit more, I would say, like conventional looking for sure. Different style from yesterday. It's a little bit less eggier and more custardy, but I really like the short crust on it. Yesterday was kind of like in between short crust pastry and like puff pastry. This is more short crust, but it's very nutty and nice. It was really good actually. Surprisingly, very, very good.
Afterwards, we headed over to Kowloon Walled City Park for a midday break. The park sits on the former site of Kowloon Walled City, once one of the most densely populated places before it was cleared in the 1990s. Today, it's quiet and a beautifully landscaped garden in traditional Chinese style, and the surrounding Kowloon City is now a calm residential neighborhood known for its diverse community. Kowloon City has long been home to a large Southeast Asian Muslim population dating back to the British colonial period where many families settled in the district. And as the community grew, halal butcher shops and curry shops and eateries opened to serve them, turning the area into a hub for halal cuisine. And representing that history, we headed to Islam Food, a beloved spot serving halal bites since 1950.
We're at a Kowloon institution serving Chinese Muslim dishes since 1950. This dish in front of me is a lamb brisket curry with potato, and look at the fat. Look at this. Very oily, very unctuous. And this is the potato. Looks bomb. This is the pan-fried beef pancake. Very juicy and heavy. Wow. Literally bursting in my mouth. The juices are flowing, but yet the dough is still super nice and crispy. Look at the beautiful caramelization. There's so much flavor in the filling. It's flavored with soy sauce, a little bit of cumin, and definitely the spices and flavors of Western China, like Xinjiang region. Wow. But look how juicy this is. That is beautiful. Definitely one of the highlight dishes from Hong Kong trip for sure. Wow, this is incredible. This is curry beef fried rice. So the yellow color that this fried rice is getting is from the spiced mixture. Similar to how biryani is made, this is a flavored rice dish, and it's really utilizing all that fat and flavor and incorporating it to the rice. Look at every granule. It's not clumping together. You get a little bit of the egg as well as beef, along with some scallions and bell pepper. Wow, so many flavors going on. It's spicy. You get a little nice like peppery kick to it. Not gonna lie, I love Southern Chinese food, but as a Korean girly, I do need a little bit of spice to my life, and this is the answer to all my cravings right now. Bomb. And obviously, the highlight of the dishes here is this is the lamb brisket curry, and the lamb is just falling off the bone. Look at this. Beautiful red color on the lamb, meaning it's not overcooked. It's braised low and slow. If the pork chop at Sun King restaurant is closer to like a Southeast Asian style curry where it incorporates a little bit of sweetness coming from coconut milk, this is more northern flavors of spice and intensity. Like I literally just drooled as I was talking because it's so freaking tasty. I mean, what do you freaking expect? It's potato that's like absorbing all the fat coming from the lamb and like the spices. And like the spices are so well bloomed because there's so much oil. And you want to wash all of that down with some sweet soy milk and start all over again. When you go to like food markets, you know, and everywhere in the world, they sell bubble waffle. And usually the bubble waffles that I've had, they're a little bit soggy. You know, it's kind of like pancake, but neither like a waffle or a pancake. It's not crispy. So I've always been like, oh, it's like a tourist trap. And I didn't know when it's made proper, it is supposed to be crispy like that. Shatters. Wow, so good. Durian filled egg waffle. You can see that this one, because he fills it with fresh durian, the excess sugar, it caramelizes, which is why you get that really nice speckles on the waffle. The way he makes it, he pours the batter into the mold and then lets all the excess batter drip off so that you get a really, really crispy edge. He lets that crisp up for almost 10 minutes until it becomes a really thin, crispy texture. And then he lathers on the fresh durian. What's really smart about this place is that they own a fruit store right next door, so they're getting it freshest from the source. Then a little bit of the batter goes in so that it can stick together, and then you bake it for another 10 minutes and voila. Each one of these spores are filled with durian. So that's fresh durian right there. Warm, fresh, stinky, cheesy durian. I've had durian before, but never warm durian. It smells kind of like feet, but very tasty feet. Not gonna lie, I do love the original because it's so thin and crispy here. But if you're a durian lover, give it a try.
Since today is our last day in Hong Kong, we went back to West Kowloon Park to sit by the water and watch one final sunset. As the sun dipped behind the mountains, the sky bled into shades of orange while the blue water rippled below, and to the left, the towers of the city stood tightly packed together. It was impossible not to feel sentimental in that moment. Hong Kong is beautiful and resilient, just like its people. Being surrounded by water, it felt right that our final meal in Hong Kong paid tribute to the city's fishing roots. So for our last dinner, we went to Kam Tung, a family-run restaurant keeping traditional Tanka cuisine alive.
I really appreciate how the Chinese kitchen fine dining scene is a very, very different plating style from the West. Also, this is like my first time being in a restaurant where they have two sets of chopsticks. One silver, one gold. This is like if Hainanese chicken took LSD. I can just look at the chicken sleeping while I eat it. For us Asians, we want to look at what we're eating, you know? I want to see where it's from. And it's from her. Half duck, half chicken. Very smart. And that's why you have the mixture of the dark meat coming from the duck, and then also the tenderness and kind of the sweet juiciness coming from the chicken. I feel like the duck adds flavor and then the chicken adds a little sweetness.
It's mantis shrimp. I think you have to do it really well already. But mantis shrimp, we chop in a small pot and then we stir fry in soy sauce and scallion.
So this is one of their main signature dishes, which is Cheung Fun, flavored with soy sauce. And as soon as you get it, the whole room smells different. It smells of sweet charred leeks, toasted soy sauce, and an incredible smoky aroma. I'm gonna try the Cheung Fun first. It's rice rolls, and you can see the cross-section of the roll here. It feels so luxurious to have Cheung Fun, which is, you know, eaten as a street food or as easy dim sum with a luxurious ingredient like mantis shrimp. So this is the mantis shrimp, cut into quarters, and just suck all the meat out of it. It's completely filled to the brim with roe.
Basically, it's all sun-dried by the elderlies in the village. It's called sea wolf. Some of our relatives still live on the boat. They wash it with seawater.
So this is the clay pot rice. And it's with the pork patty and the ginger and the salted fish. Every culture that lives by the ocean has some sort of fish that is preserved in salt. And it's a great way to add a lot of umami and saltiness to dishes. And for this clay pot rice, it's the thick, sweet pork patty that's flavored with soy sauce that adds the indulgentness, but it misses a little bit of that salty, zingy factor, and that's where the salted fish comes in with the crispy rice and the fluffy rice, as well as a little bit of ginger to zing it up. It is really a great bite.
This one is interesting because it's a recipe from my great-grandma. Pork liver, rice wine, ginger is what we eat to, what we believe to get the wind, the evil wind away after pregnancy for women.
So this one is the clam with pork liver, and holy smokes. There are two things that I never thought would come together, that comes together really perfectly. But what strikes me the most memorable is definitely the broth. It has a really amazing, fragrant rice wine aroma that's just permeating your mouth as soon as you sip it in. It's also salty with a little sweetness coming from the clams and the mineral zinginess of the pork liver with the ginger. It's fantastic. This is it, doobies. This is the end to our 100-hour series in Hong Kong. I feel like I've only scratched the surface. There is so much good food in Hong Kong, and not only the good food, but the culture and the hospitality and the city itself is intoxicating. And I hope this was helpful to you and convinces you to come visit. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Good night. Bye-bye.